Hey everyone, my name is Ksenia and I was a panelist at LA ComicCon. So yeah, you guys, I'm so stoked about this. I still can't fully process it, but it was such a cool experience and I decided to make this video like a cross between a storyline and a vlog. This is gonna be a vlog, don't click away if you were feeding for a vlog. But I just decided to do this little sit down and just tell you guys about the experience first person, because I didn't really vlog that much of the thing itself, or rather I didn't vlog almost any of the thing itself because I was doing stuff, I was working, I was on the panel, so I couldn't vlog at the same time. So I decided to tell you guys what happened. So what really happened was I stayed some extra time in LA and I reached out to my longtime Twitter mutual, Gentleman Jervis, for an interview, which unfortunately, because of circumstances that neither I nor him can control, the interview did not take place, which I'm pretty upset about, but I'm sure we will do it eventually. But we were just messaging back and forth, and at one point he was like, "How do you feel about discussing sensitive topics in public?" I was like, I love discussing sensitive topics in public. Why you ask? So that's how Gentleman Jervis invited me to be a part of a panel that he was hosting at LA ComicCon. The topic of the panel was mental health in wrestling, and the panel featured a lot of people who know their stuff about wrestling, who have experienced wrestling for many years, and also who have experienced most definitely the influence of wrestling on their mental health or on the mental health of those around them. The panel featured Gabriel Kidd, a New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler who has, by the way, recently made a promo that had to do a lot with his own mental health struggles, which was super brave and important of him to do, so that was part of the reason why he was on the panel. Mick Greenwood, a writer, booker, producer, director. Watts, another professional wrestler. David Marquez, a very renowned booker and producer. Mark Gonzalez, a stand-up comedian and wrestler. And me! And the panel was hosted by Gentleman Jervis, now also known as Kevin Condren, and I also kind of feel like this panel was the first stage of Jervis's unmasking and of him revealing to the world that he's been sharing his body for a decade now with Kevin Condren. And let me just take this little moment to say it, to not keep repeating throughout the video because you guys are gonna think I'm, you know, fangirling, but let me just say that I admire and look up to both Gentleman Jervis and Kevin Condren, and I think they are an incredible, compassionate, emotionally intelligent, wonderful person, and we need more people like that in the industry. And honestly, I'm really glad that this discussion is taking place and that this cause, you know, is led by people like Kevin. And I really hope that we do make it work eventually, and that eventually you guys will see him on the channel. So now let's go on to the Comic-Con. And today I'm going to LA Comic-Con. Even more so, I'm excited for the panel. I cannot wait. I think it's a very important conversation to have, and I'm glad that we're having it. I arrived quite early because I also wanted to meet Jay White, which I did, because honestly he's my favorite New Japan wrestler. I hope I didn't offend anyone right now. No, but yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite New Japan wrestlers, and I've been wanting to meet him and ideally interview him. Unfortunately, didn't work out. Again, maybe sometime in the future. But I almost have this like list of people that I want to ideally interview or like meet or record like at least a segment with for every single US trip that I make.
You just made the list.
He was definitely up there on this list for this trip, and I even considered like traveling somewhere like to a con specifically to meet him. So the fact that it just so coincided that he was in LA and I stayed a longer time in LA and I finally met him, that was great. He was very nice, he was dressed really well, so that went great. But I digress a little bit because, yeah, Comic-Con. So I arrived, I guess you could say, at about noon. Jay White's meet and greet started at 1 p.m. I think, and I, in my head, naively, it's not the word naively, all naive, I was like, I'm gonna be there early. I walked to Comic-Con because I did stay in downtown, which was a nice little walk that I thoroughly enjoyed. However, when I did get to the convention center, I realized that I made a grave mistake. I was not gonna be early to that meet and greet, by no means in the world, because there were so many people and the lines were crazy, and I had to somehow find where I was supposed to pick up my industry badge, because that's a different spot than where you know, people who bought tickets pick up their badges. I'm currently on the search for the place where I'll get my badge, and they sent me all the way across the street to another entrance, so let's test our luck there. And I learned that the hard way, because I did go to the wrong spot and got to the front of the line, and then the person, the employee, was like, "This is not where you're supposed to be, lady." No, they were really nice, and they actually directed me to where to go to get my badge, and they wished me luck on my panel, which was super sweet. But finding the spot to actually check in was a whole conundrum, and I vlogged a bunch of that, so I am taking you guys with me on my struggle to find where I get my badge. Yeah, after all of this, I did get my badge. Success. Successfully got my badge. So now I'm gonna go find Jay White. And the second trouble that I had to go through was finding where the Jay White meet and greet was. Update, I'm in the wrong building. That's not where panelists check in. So now I have to go around the entire thing, and I'm starting to be worried that I'll be late, but I'll power walk through this. And my mistake was I first went to the meet and greet area, which was a mistake because the main meet and greets of a ComicCon are with actors and, you know, creators and not wrestlers. So attempt 1, wrong hole. That's what she said. And New Japan was more of a stand in the main hall apparently than an official LA Comic-Con meet and greet, which, you know, in our heads wrestling is so important and so big and it should have its designated space, which it absolutely should, but it doesn't really. Honestly, this atmosphere has been kind of cool. People are interacting with each other, everyone's taking pictures, but I am still frustrated because I need to find the freaking meet and greet. Checking the main hall now, I think should be the main hall. Not sure. By the way, Comic-Con was just completely overcome by anime, which was kind of confusing to me. I am not an anime person, and I'm pretty sure that they have their own cons. Why do they have to hijack this one? It's a Comic-Con, not an anyways. A lot of anime. Entirely too much anime to process for a non-geeky person. Wow, dude, that sure is the main hall, I think. Still yet to find what I'm looking for. It's cool. Eventually I did find the main hall, but the main source of confusion was that the way you see it on TV is everything is going on everywhere. It's not like that. It's a convention center. And when you walk in, you see this main space, and you see a lot of corridors and a lot of, you know, just different pathways, but you don't really walk straight into the main hall. So it took some time for me to find the main hall. Even though they are trying to be helpful and they do have those maps everywhere, but it took me a while to find it. And when I was asking staff trying to find the New Japan stand, no one knew where it was. But eventually I did find it. Oh my god, I found them. The Boot Club sign is now the beacon of hope. And did meet Jay White. I also did run into Kristen Willett, fellow interviewer, so it was fun to finally say hi to him in real life, because we've known each other on the internet for a while, but yeah, some of you guys really loved that selfie on Twitter. It was a crossover that you guys wanted, but yeah, maybe eventually we'll do a video together. So then I just went on to walk around. It was fun. I bought a bunch of things, some plushies. Guys, look what I found. It's the crush of the entire internet. I am equally terrified and amazed. I'm gonna go check out the ginormous Baby Yoda, even though I haven't really seen the show. I tried to buy a wrestling figure. The person at the stand didn't know how to use PayPal, so they had PayPal, but they didn't know how to, you know, how to get me to They didn't know how to use it, okay? And also another thing I didn't know is that Heath Slater was gonna be there. Yo, what the hell? I just found out that Heath Slater is here. He just left for like an hour apparently. So I think after the panel I'm gonna try and catch him. And I am a Heath Slater appreciator. I'm a Heath Slater fan. If you guys did not know, Heath Miller, Heath, whatever his name is currently. I hope I did not offend him right now. But yeah, I'm a fan of his, and at one point he was like in my like top 5 favorite wrestlers. So I was really excited, and I couldn't catch him before the panel because he apparently left right before I found the booth randomly, just, you know, ran into this booth. But I did end up, again, getting ahead of myself a little, but I did end up meeting him on the second day of Comic-Con, because after the panel it was a bit too late too, so, you know, I was working. So I did meet him the next day, and it was a bit of a fangirling moment for me too, because I'm usually like generally pretty chill around wrestlers, because I am around wrestlers a lot and I work around wrestlers, but there are some wrestlers that I have like a special connection to, and mostly it's wrestlers that I used to be like a huge fan of when I was a teen or a preteen, a kid, and those wrestlers make me nervous. So I will admit on camera, on record, that I was very nervous to meet Heath. And I was so nervous to the point where I forgot to ask him to say hi for the channel, so bear with me, no footage of that. A really cute picture though. But yeah, the time of our panel was slowly but surely looming, and I was trying to find the conference room we were supposed to be in. And you know, guys, apparently conference rooms at Comic-Cons are something else. Like, it's so confusing. And they do have, again, they do have like lists and like schedules of all panels like by the door, but just finding all of the conference rooms and like walking around all the conference rooms is a nightmare.
That's a lot about it. I definitely knew comic book growing up. There was more.
So Gabriel Kidd was the first person who found the actual conference room that we're supposed to be in. So thank you, Gabriel. Appreciate that. So guys, I found Gabriel Kidd.
What's going on? Well, I think we're in the right place.
And we're in the conference room, but we're not sure whether it's the actual conference room.
Yeah, we're getting told a different room, but I think we're in the right place.
But we stand by our decision.
Yeah, it says it on the sign out there, so...
Can't argue with the sign.
I don't know, touch wood.
But yeah, soon after we did find the conference room, it was time for the panel. The panel was 30 minutes long, which is entirely too short for such a serious topic. But I think Kevin did a great job of, you know, moderating it and making sure that everyone had an opportunity to share their perspective. And honestly, initially, when I was going on that panel, I was going to talk about the issues that my interviewees, like the guests that I've had on my channel, have told me about and that I've witnessed being in the wrestling business. I really didn't want to talk about myself. But Kevin did ask me about myself and about how one deals with, you know, mental health and burnout as a blogger in wrestling, as a journalist in wrestling, and I was kind of forced to actually talk about myself. And when I did, and when I actually shared like how burnout works when you're not a worker, when you're adjacent to wrestling, and how fans perceive you and how it doesn't necessarily match with what your job actually is and what your work routine actually looks like. While talking about that, I honestly realized that, wow, I guess we do have to talk about that too. And again, it was really cool to hear Gabriel Kidd share his experience and share his perspective, because he's one of the people who is now bringing the cause of mental health onto screens in professional wrestling. Like, I was gonna almost say into kayfabe, put it like that. I would just say that he's putting it, you know, out there publicly, which I feel is super brave and cool, and he's doing something important for wrestling by doing that. It was really cool to hear Dave Marquez's perspective too, as someone who has been in the industry for so many years and someone who has witnessed this like shift. So honestly, I feel like we could just sit there and talk about it for hours on end. But anyways, another thing I would like to point out is that Kevin made it so that all of us were comfortable. All of us were comfortable sharing our experience, and I would also love to thank the audience because you guys were great. Like, I assume some of you are watching this. You guys are great, and you guys made it feel really welcoming and made it feel like a safe space. And I hope you guys felt this way too, because ultimately what we're striving for is to make wrestling a safe environment to talk about mental health and to take care of your mental health and to encourage others to do the same. So I'm really glad that we started this conversation. I'm really glad that we had that panel, and I am honored to have been a part of it. On a lighter note, I captured this amazing video when we were walking out of LA Comic-Con, and honestly, I don't know, if something encapsulates the essence of America in terms of pop culture, I think it's that. It's a perfect, beautiful combination. That's cool. Oh, and this. Very cute. I love this. Oh my god, this is just what I'm saying, like there couldn't be like a better combo right now. This is perfect.
Oh, this one.
And on that wonderful note, thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me. Again, I am endlessly grateful for this opportunity, and I hope to do more things like that in the future because I do feel like it's important. And you know, next goal is San Diego Comic-Con or a panel on the main stage or both. I would love that for us. But yeah, give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, tap the notification bell to never miss an upload. Find me on my social media. I'm at Xenia Did That on almost any platform, and I will put the social media of all the other panelists in the video description as well. And until next time, goodbye.